And welcome back, everybody, to another deck profile on the Francisco Ferreira Vlogs channel. So this time it is going to be on a way more casual deck over here, which is going to be Crystal Beast. Not Advanced Crystal Beast, but that is something that I might actually dabble into at some point. But for now, I figured that I would talk about this deck. So this deck is actually not for me. I built this entirely so that I could get one of my friends into the game. And I know that this game can be pretty expensive. So I wanted to be able to do all of this kind of as just like a Christmas present. So yeah, he won't be receiving this until Christmas. And hopefully this will be good enough to get him into the game and feel like he's actually getting somewhere with it. Because honestly, it is a little bit tough to get people into Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm going to go ahead and get straight into this deck profile. If you would change anything about it before I go ahead and wrap it up, then please make sure to let me know in the comments so that I could go ahead and make any changes that could improve this deck ultimately. This is not Conclave Control, but with that said, we're going to move straight into the deck profile. So this is going to be, I believe, a 43 card build. Maybe 42, somewhere between 43 and 42, but we're going to get straight into it. So first things first, we are going to have double Rainbow Dragon. I actually prefer to just go with 2 Rainbow Dragons because I just feel like 1 won't be enough. Like I won't see this card if I only run it at 1 here, especially if it's 43 cards. So that's mostly what I fear here. So I wanted to be able to run at least 2. Just so that I can make sure that I can see that ultimate crystal name come up more often so that I can get some of my combo pieces up and running more quickly. And with that, we're going to move straight into the crystal beasts themselves. Like here, we're going to get Crystal Beast, Rainbow Dragon, for example. This is going to be the newest Crystal Beast monster besides the advanced ones. And this one's actually pretty good, which is why we are running it at 2. You should not run this at 3 though, because at 3 it is going to become a little bit cloggy, and you do want to make room for other cards since this deck is mostly comprised of spells. For really, it doesn't have that many monsters in it. Then we've got triple Sapphire Pegasus over here. He is going to be your main searcher of the deck, which is why you're going to want him at 3. Technically, you only need 1 of each, but this card is really going to be the turbo piece of this entire deck, and it's what's going to allow it really to move as quickly as it should to hopefully help you get all 7 crystal beasts into your field, graveyard, or what have you, to be able to get Rainbow Dragon out and then Rainbow Dragon Overdrive out as soon as possible. So you want to run this card at 3, no doubt. Then we've got Crystal Beast, Emerald Tortoise. The rest of these are really going to be ran just for the names themselves. So that's going to be also applying to Crystal Beast, Ruby Carbuncle. We've got Amethyst Cat, and then Topaz Tiger, and we've also got the last 2, which are Cobalt Eagle and Amber Mammoth. So this is going to be the Crystal Beast lineup, and this is what all of this is going to be comprised of. And then the last monster that I'm going to run in here is really just going to be triple copies of Ash Blossom because it came in the structure deck, and this card can definitely be a showstopper even now. Even though it's not being played so often, it is still a very, very good card nonetheless. And I think that this card will definitely be one that he's going to enjoy using. So with that said, that's going to be everything for the monsters. And we're going to move on straight into the spells and traps. So I'm going to run triple Prosperity. I decided to splurge on these because Prosperity is a card that's just way too useful in this deck in particular, because you really don't need every card in your extra deck for 1. So it's perfectly fine to run this at 3, and also it is just a really nice consistency piece to have around. So Prosperity is just going to make it easier to dig into your Crystal Beast monsters more quickly, and it is a card that I simply would not play this deck without. So I decided to splurge on those. And then I've got Rainbow Bridge of the Heart. I actually don't really like this card as much. I feel like it doesn't really come up as much from my own testing. but I have kept it at 3 because I also feel like maybe I'm just not using this card properly. I mean, it does have a lot of effects going for it, so I probably missing something when it comes to this card. But the first effect, normal summon, again, doesn't really come up all that often. It's all the other effects that come after it that really make a difference whenever I do get to go off with it. Then we've got Crystal Bond. Now, this card is really, really good. This is one of the best searchers in the entire game, I would say, because it lets you search for 2 cards, essentially. Now, lets you add 1 Crystal Beast monster from your deck to your hand, which could be Sapphire Pegasus, and then you could put another Crystal Beast monster in the spell and trap zone. So that's going to be already 2 that you've gotten your hands on, and you can summon Sapphire Pegasus to get yet another Crystal Beast. So that's already setting you up for 3 Crystal Beast monsters, which is pretty good. And then we've got ourselves Awakening of the Crystal Ultimates. This is going to be a great card for searching as well, because you do have other very useful crystal spells and traps in here that are definitely going to come in handy. I like to run that at 3, and you obviously won't be using all 3 copies in the game. I mean, most likely not, at least, but it is still very useful to have around. Then we've got Rainbow Bridge over here, which is going to be another fantastic searcher. And then for some more generic spells, I would say, or just one-ofs really in this case, I've got Ancient City, Rainbow Ruins. I run this mostly because I am running Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, and it does require you to search for a field spell card, so I figured why not. And it does come in handy sometimes with some of its effects, considering that you can stack so many Crystal Beast monsters on your side of the field already. So it's not too bad, really, but I also wouldn't mind not playing it. Then we've got Crystal Beacon over here. This is another super useful card, but I think that it's really at its best just at 1. And then 2 Foolish Burial Goods, because you want to be able to get some of your spells and traps into the graveyard. Then I've got 1 Called by the Grave, which is still a useful card, even though hand traps are not really as relevant so much at the moment. And then we've got Harby's Feather Duster to be able to get rid of your opponent's back row in case you're dealing with any kind of back row deck or anything like that. And then for traps, we have 1 Ultimate Crystal Magic. This card, I haven't really gone into it very often, so there isn't really too much that I can say about it. However, from everything that I have read, it seems like a very good card, but I do still have some more testing to do with it. And then we've got Crystal Miracle. This is going to be another very powerful card, and it can be searched as well, which is what makes it so good. Same with Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, which I've already mentioned. This is still a very good card. And now when it comes to other hand traps, or just traps in general, still we've got Triple Infinite Impermanence, which I think is a card that screws me up often whenever somebody uses it against me. So I think that it will be very useful for him as well when he gets to use it. So that's going to be everything for the main deck. And now we're going to move on to the extra deck, which isn't going to be anything really all that special, but let's move right into it. For example, you might want to question why I would run triple Ultimate Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon Overdrive. And part of it is because of prosperity, because I do want some easier prosperity targets, but also because you would still be able to summon him multiple times a duel if you need to, because of his effect. He can be a very, very big monster, going at up to 11,000, which is why I just want to make sure that I always have enough copies, but I always end up sending 2 with prosperity anyway. So it's not really that big of a deal. Honestly, you could cut 1 or 2 copies of this if you wanted to, but this is how I prefer to play it. And I run 1 Rainbow Over Dragon. So basically how it would usually go is that you would bring out Rainbow Dragon, then you would go straight into Rainbow Over Dragon, and then that would allow you to go into Ultimate Crystal Rainbow Dragon, essentially. So that's how that combo would go. And then we've got some more generic cards over here that I would like to go into. For example, we've got Divine Arsenal Jesus, usually not the first Xyz monster that people would present. But this card, if you're going to be running any Xyz monsters in your deck, you should probably run an Azus with you as well. And then we got number 60, Dugaris the Timeless. So this card, I haven't really gone into all that much either. However, this card is definitely quite powerful, and do you know what else is powerful? Baguska. You should always run a copy of Baguska in a deck like this. It does have a lot of level 4, so it would make it very easy for you to make it as well. Baguska is a showstopper. Same with Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is incredibly powerful, especially this format. So this card is a must-have in this deck. And then for the next cards, I've got Cross Sheep over here. Then I've got IP Masquerena, because we are running quite a few links in here. We want to make sure that we can give them that protection effect as well. If we are going to be making IP Masquerena, I mean, you might as well go for that. Then I've got Cherubini over here. This is another very strong one, to be completely honest. So it does require level 3s mostly, so you will probably be making some of the Xyz monsters before you make any of the links from my own playtesting. Got Saruja Skulldread, because you can manage still to be able to end up drawing 4 cards with its effect, which is kind of insane. And we've got Appaloosa, of course, because we are running quite a few links in here, so we want to be able to run some of the best ones that we can. Underworld, Goddess of the Closed World. So this one is going to be one of the tougher ones to summon. Hardly ever comes up, to be completely honest, but when it does, it is a showstopper. And then lastly, we've got ourselves an access code talker, which has now gone significantly down in price. So that's going to be pretty much everything for this deck. So if you did like this deck and everything that I showed in this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to this channel, because I do like to post these deck profiles. Now, again, before I wrap this up with a neat little bow, please let me know what else I could possibly be missing in this deck to make it better, so that my friends can have a better experience with this deck when he eventually gets it. I made sure to get this mat as well for him, and this rainbow deck box from Ultra Pro 2. I mean, I figured that I might as well. It's covered in fingerprints at this point, though, because this is a fingerprint magnet. But yeah, I mean, let me know what else I can do to just make it better. And I look forward to seeing you with the next deck profile, which is most likely going to be an update on my branded Bestial build, since I've been experimenting so much with it and making so many changes to it. I'm honestly excited to share what I have gathered with it. So until next time, this has been Francisco Ferreira Vlogs, and have a good one. Bye bye.